Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today I'm going to be making a video ranking my top 10 worst Funko Pops of 2019. So for this video, I'm going to be going over things that I just did not like from Funko this year, whether it's an entire series of Funko Pops or just an individual one. And in this list, you have to keep in mind that this is all my personal opinion, so there might be some Pops on here that might be some of your favorites from the year, but don't take it personally, it's just me having some fun here and just giving some tips to Funko. I'm not trying to rag on them or anything, because I also did make a video of my top 10 favorite Funko Pops, because Funko's made a lot of amazing figures this year. They've really stepped up in the amount of detail that they put on some of their figures, but there's still some things that they do that I don't exactly agree with, and just some Funko Pops that I'm personally not a fan of. So that's what I'm going to be going over in this video. So I hope you all go on to enjoy the video and that we can have some fun with this. And let me know some things in 2019 or just in general that you don't necessarily agree with Funko on, or some of their releases that you're just not fans of. So be sure to let me know all of that in the comment section below, and let's get started here with number 10. Alright, so at number 10 here we have Hospice Morty, and this one personally, I'm not sure if everyone knows what hospice means, but it basically means a home providing care for the sick or terminally ill, and I don't know about you, but that's a little depressing, and I don't think I really need it in Funko form. Morty just looks like he is dead here, and sure, you can look at it in more of a comedic sense. I'm sure in the show that it might be played for a comedy sort of tactic, or perspective, but I'm just not too sure if I necessarily want to see this in Funko form. I just think it's a little bit weird here. I'd have to see it play out in the show, and that's why I put it down here at number 10, because I feel like it's the least harmful one here, and definitely a personal opinion of mine here. I'm sure there are people who are Rick and Morty fans who are big fans of this pop, but personally I just feel it's a little bit depressing and just a simple pop as well. It's very plain, Morty's outfit, and he just looks so sad. Like, of course, he's Hospice Morty, so he's terminally ill, so that's quite depressing, and I feel bad for him, but overall, the pop just really didn't impress me in its design, so now we're going to move on to number 9. Alright, at number 9 here we have Captain America, the wood version. Now this one is a Entertainment Earth exclusive, and I don't know about you, but I've been waiting a long time to get a wooden Captain America. But wait, I don't think this one's made of actual wood. And no, it actually isn't. Apparently this one is made out of plastic, I'm pretty sure. I will probably double check that after saying this now, but I think that this one's still made out of plastic. Sure, the paint job's great, it looks like it's wood, but it really isn't, and I just feel like, okay, what are you doing here, Funko? This just feels a little bit weird. We've never really had a wood version of Captain America. Maybe it's because in Avengers Age of Ultron he breaks a piece of wood. That could be something that might affect the reason why this pop is being made, but I'm not sure about you, but I just feel like this is a very unnecessary exclusive edition here for Captain America. And don't get me wrong, it's totally your choice whether you pick it up or not. It's not like any of these pops Funko is just shoving down our throats and making us pay for. I mean, this one, of course, is totally optional, but just personally, I think it's just a little bit of a weak exclusive here. And now let's move on to number 8. Alright, at number 8 here, we have a pop that isn't necessarily that bad, but when you compare it to this custom done by Abernathy, sorry if I'm mispronouncing the Instagram name, but I will leave a link to their page in the description below. They made an amazing looking Spirit Mufasa custom, and this pop just looks fantastic. It is absolutely amazing, and then you come over to Funko, who was like, okay, we're making this exclusive to pop in the box, and it was like, okay, that's really exciting. I would love to see like this custom kind of come to life for Funko. And of course, they're not going to directly copy from the custom, but they might take some inspiration from it, or at least it will look sort of similar. And then they came up with one that just does not look very good. It looks so plain and simple. It looks like they just turned the Mufasa into a somewhat, not very translucent, but a lighter, like, blue plastic, and then just put a bunch of, like, glitter on him. So this one is just very disappointing. That custom has such a complex paint job here. It just looks amazing, and this one just looks like a hunk of blue plastic in the mold of Mufasa, and I am just not a fan of it. I think that it is a very lazy exclusive here, and you'll hear me say that a lot in this video because I feel like some of the things Funko does are just gimmicks here, and it's just laziness with some of their chases, exclusives, just their gimmicky pops, just some things that I just feel they don't necessarily need to be doing here, but I do understand the business perspective as well. I'm sure this Mufasa pop sold quite a few because it's a pop in a box exclusive, but I'm just personally not a big fan of it. So now let's move on to number 7. Alright, at number 7 here we have the Knights of Ren Pops, and you may be thinking, oh, what's wrong with the Knights of Ren Pops? And it's that they made 2 different versions for each of these ones, excluding the Long Axe version and the Scythe version. They didn't make regular ones for those 2, but for the rest of the Pops they made, or technically speaking, I guess, the Hematite Chrome versions are the regular commons, and then the plain, like, sort of just matte finish on the other ones are the exclusives. So they made a War Club version, a blaster rifle version, they also made a heavy blade version and a arm cannon one, and you'll see those all on screen, and I just feel like it was very unnecessary to make each of them just with their own, like, exclusive version where it's just a plain one. And what was really odd was that the exclusive ones came out first and the commons are coming out later with those Chrome versions, and I just feel like you should have gone with one or the other. I really don't care for the Chrome or the normal one. I feel like the Knights of Ren are not anything too amazing. I won't spoil anything from The Rise of Skywalker if you haven't seen them, but for me, I compare them to probably like maybe the Praetorian Guards from Last Jedi. I feel like they just didn't really amaze me or wow me in any way. Their designs are fine, but it's just nothing spectacular, and definitely not something where each of them deserves an exclusive and regular common version. I feel like that's very unnecessary, and just Funko cashing in here by using the same mold and just redoing it with a Chrome version. But I'm not too sure what Funko's doing here. I think that it's still just a little bit of a lazy choice here and on something that just isn't very necessary. But now let's move on to number 6. Alright, at number 6 here we have the Joker Chrome versions from Target, and these ones feel very unnecessary. This is an example of Funko taking an older mold and then just chroming it. And I feel like, okay, the Joker definitely is very relevant. He's relevant all the time, but especially with the release of the Joker film. So why didn't you make a Joker pop from that? I get that maybe there were some licensing issues, but they made other DC Extended Universe pops. So why couldn't they make this version of Joker with Joaquin Phoenix's version? Why did you have to take the Arkham Asylum version and make it chrome? And especially, I can understand the green version, sure, I'm fine with that, but then they went and did an orange, purple, silver, and black version, and the black one even comes with a t-shirt. So they even tried to bundle that one so that if you want to get the complete set here, you need to buy an extra expensive version of it, even if you don't want the shirt. So I just feel like this is Funko being very lazy here. The chrome ones even feel kind of cheap. Don't get me wrong, I even fell into the trap of chromes at one point where I purchased the majority of the Marvel 10-year anniversary chrome pops, the gold ones from the MCU. I did fall into the trap of those, and don't get me wrong, they're fine, similar to these Joker ones, but at least with those it was a variety of them. They didn't like take like Iron Man and make him a bunch of different colors, which was another one that I'll actually bring up here. This is kind of just on the fly here, but they actually had the different versions of Hulk from Endgame holding the Nano Gauntlet, where he is in all different chrome colors, and I get it, he's holding the Nano Gauntlet with all the different Infinity Gems in them, but it just is not necessary. And they even downgraded that pop that was originally a 6-inch version, and they made it a 4-inch one. So it just does not make sense to me. Funko, in my opinion, is chroming way too many Funko Pops this year, especially in particular. I feel like it really needs to slow down. A chrome version should be something that's very special for the Funko community. It should be like an anniversary of some sort, or at least a Funko Pop that is very relevant at the moment. Like, I could totally see them chroming maybe like a Mandalorian pop. The Mandalorian is a very relevant show right now. People are really excited about that, so I could completely see them doing one chrome version of it. But with ones like Joker here from Arkham Asylum and a Hulk from Endgame, like, they already did that with the Thanos from Infinity War. I'm pretty sure they made that into all the different chrome versions for the Infinity Stones, and it just was not necessary. So I don't know what Funko's thinking there. It's just a little bit lazy in my opinion. But now let's move on to number 5. Alright, so on number 5 here, we're going to be discussing Star Wars, and I know Star Wars is a very big topic this year, of course, with the final episodic film release here with Episode 9, so Funko, of course, decided to make gold versions of some of the characters here. So we have Chewbacca, Darth Maul, Jango Fett, Kylo Ren, Rey, and Yoda. So Rey and Kylo Ren I kind of understand because, of course, it's The Rise of Skywalker coming out. Now, the one thing that doesn't make sense is that they're the older molds for Rey and Kylo. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me why they wouldn't do like a gold version of the newer molds from The Rise of Skywalker, but hey, I guess they just had some of those molds laying around and felt like they would just make them gold. And these aren't even chrome versions. These are just like a almost, I don't even know how you would describe it, but just a gold paint job basically put over the pop, which removes a lot of the detail from the Funko Pops, and I feel like it just comes off as being very lazy. The only one that I could excuse is maybe the Jango Fett. That one's kind of cool because that one was exclusive to Walgreens, I'm fairly sure, so it is nice to get an exclusive gold version of that one. So maybe we get that mold once again, which is nice. But for ones like Rey, Kylo, Yoda, Chewbacca, I think even the Darth Maul, those are all commons like in their original form, so it just really doesn't make sense to me to make gold versions of them. Chewbacca maybe a little bit because he is a part of Rise of Skywalker, but still, it's an older mold here. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I'm just not a huge fan of when Funko does this. But let's move on to number 4. Alright, so number 4 is a really good one, and it's one of the main pops that inspired this list, and this one just made me laugh. When I saw it, I legitimately thought that this was a fake, and I was like, no one would ever take this seriously, but it is real. It is the Funko Shop exclusive Flocked Iceman. Now, I don't know about you, but the last time I touched some ice, and let me tell you right now, it's winter here in Canada, so there is a lot of ice, and I don't particularly think that ice is very fluffy or soft or like a sort of like blanket almost feel, like a very like flocked feel. But for some reason Funko did, and they were like, hey, you know what? Let's make a Flocked Iceman pop. This does not make any sense to me. Why would you not make a new version of Beast from the X-Men into a flocked version? That would make sense. That's a pop that needs to be flocked, or a new version needs to be released of it. But instead, Funko was like, you know what? Iceman, he's a new pop. let's make him flocked. I don't know why, but we're just gonna do it. Why not? It's a Funko Shop exclusive, so they know that it will probably sell, and I just feel like this one is so unnecessary. The pop doesn't look horrible. This new mold of Iceman is actually really great, but we just didn't need a flocked version of it. I was fine with the regular version. It looks a lot more like ice because it's semi-translucent, but for this one, why Funko? Why did you do this? It makes no sense whatsoever. So, I don't know about this one. It just really confused me. But now let's move on to number 3. Okay, so number 3 here is one that is very personal to me. This might not even annoy some other collectors, but it really annoys me. And it is when they make 2 packs of Funko Pops, where it's just they combine 2 common Pops and then make it an exclusive. It makes no sense to me. I don't know about you, but I think the consensus around the Funko community is that everybody would rather be able to get each Pop in an individual box, because then it kind of matches up with your collection a little bit better than having a random 2-pack of Funko Pops. Like, I don't know about you, but if I were to get like 2 exclusive Pops from, let's say, EB Games, I would rather them be in individual packaging than be in a 2-pack version, because it doesn't really go with my collection as well on the shelf. Like, for me personally, I don't have any 2-packs in my collection, and that's also a result of not really having an interest in any of them, but also just the fact that I don't really need 2 common Funko Pops just in the same packaging. I get it, maybe it saves packaging. I can't imagine that it saves that much, but it just does not make any sense to me. The 2 examples are the Kylo Ren and Rey, the Barnes & Noble exclusive, and then we have the Books A Million exclusive for Dio and BB-8. And don't get me wrong, those pairings do make a lot of sense, but it just does not make any sense to put 2 common versions. I could see maybe 2 exclusives. Maybe if you even made 2 chrome versions here, or 2 metallic versions, or even glow-in-the-dark would at least help. But they were just like, nah, you know what? We have some extras of these. Let's just put them in a different box. And it just doesn't make any sense. I really don't understand why Funko is doing this. It really boggles my mind. But nonetheless, let's move on to number 2. Alright, so at number 2 here, we're going to challenge a very big problem here in the Funko community, and it is the chase Pops. Funko has been getting very lazy with their chases. Don't get me wrong, there's still a few chases that are fine and pretty cool, but man, they are getting lazy. I'll start with the one here that some people might disagree with in being lazy, but I have 3 examples here, and the first one is the Gamer Groot chase. Now, this one came in that Black Friday Marvel Gamer box, and for one, Funko is making you pay more for that, of course, because it's a box that comes with a keychain, a Funko Pez, and a Funko like sticker or card, I think it is. But why did you have to put a chase version here that isn't even that different? I could totally get it for the other 2. They had an unmasked version of Deadpool and Miles Morales, but then you just have Gamer Groot, and the normal one is just him sitting on the ground. He has his controller, and he's also just sipping a drink, and then the other one is just him standing holding the controller. I really do not see a huge difference here. Does anyone really have a preference here? Of course, you're gonna like the chase better because it's a chase Pop, but who really cares whether Gamer Groot is sitting or standing? It's just not a big enough difference here. And then the next example that I have is Sarah Connor from Terminator, the new film. And she's literally just holding something different. It's like almost the exact same hand sculpt. I think the hand on her left side is the same, and then the one on her right is in a slightly different like pose or orientation, and she's just holding like something different in the chase version. I really do not understand the point of this. It's like, who cares? She's holding something different. I would almost rather Funko do pops where you can maybe switch out their accessories. Like, that would be something very cool for Funko to do. It's similar to almost like how they have those Funko Pops where you can put the different, like, hairpiece on them, like the different wig. It's almost similar to, of course, how Lego minifigures work, where you can switch out parts of the minifigure and switch out accessories. That would be an awesome addition here for Funko to make, but instead, they choose to make a Chase version where it's just a different accessory. And now, the worst one for 2019, and I know this pop, some people might think it's coming out in 2020, it's from the film Happy Gilmore, and this one actually on the Funko app says its release date is 2019, so that's why it's in this list here, and it is Chubbs. And the Chase for Chubbs, I'll let you have a look at it just for a second here. I'll put both of the pops beside each other, and you can let me know what the difference is here. And the difference is that, like, his fingers are chopped off, basically. And I really, really do not see the point in this. I get why his fingers are chopped off. It's a part of the film. But why wouldn't that just be the normal version? Why do I need... What is so different about him with his fingers and without his fingers? I totally would have understood if they put him in a completely different outfit. Even if they just recolored this outfit at the least. But Funko is just like, nah, just take off some of his fingers. And that just does not make any sense to me. This very much shows how lazy they're getting with their chases, so it just really makes me disappointed here. We could have some really awesome Chase versions. I've seen some fantastic custom alternate versions of Funko Pops on Instagram and stuff like that, and they're just amazing. And then Funko's over here just chopping off Chubb's fingers, so I really don't see the point in this. And now let's move on to number 1. Alright, so at number 1 here, I have what I think to be the biggest problem from Funko of this year, and it is the 10-inch versions. Now, there are just way too many 10-inch Funko Pops. They are making everything into a 10-inch, and they're even making variants of those 10-inch pops. The first example that I have here is Michael Jordan in his red jersey, and then we have an alternate version of him, still a 10-inch pop, in his white jersey. Okay, I could completely see this for a 4-inch pop, because that pop would be, and I'm going by Canadian prices here as well, just so you know. I know it might be a variation in America or somewhere else in the world, but for Canada, a standard Funko Pop at, let's say, EB Games would cost $14.99. So I could completely see you making 2 different versions of that pop, where maybe it's just a clothing change or just a color change, and I totally understand that. That makes sense because $15 is still a fairly reasonable price. But now you have a 10-inch version, which in Canada, the price for that ranges from like $40 to like $55 I've seen. I'm pretty sure they're $55 on EB Games' website, and you're telling me I have to give Funko like $110 plus tax, which is going to come out to like $120 for 2 10-inch versions of Michael Jordan just to get him in a different jersey. I really don't see the point in that, and I totally get it. Funko is not forcing you to buy these 10-inch versions, but you're still making these alternate versions. You're still spending the time to paint these alternate ones, and I really just don't see the point in it. I really feel like it's feeling like you can have too much of one thing here, and I feel like when 10-inch pops started coming out at the start, they were a really cool thing. I even enjoyed them at the start. I don't own any personally because the price is still very high for them, but there were some that I thought were cool. I liked like the Pennywise 10-inch. I enjoyed the SpongeBob one. But once they started making these variations, and that leads into my next example here, which is for Black Friday, it wasn't enough just for Funko to make those Marvel gamer boxes, but they also made variations of a 10-inch Deadpool pop here. So we have a blue and yellow version of Deadpool, we have a gold 10-inch version, and then we have an X-Force version. And then what I would think is the worst one is that we have a common version where one of them is him giving like a thumbs up with a gun to his side, and then the other one is him holding 2 swords on his side. Now that is just so lazy to me. I feel like they're just making these versions because they know Deadpool's a popular character, so this will sell. They're Walmart exclusives for Black Friday, so people are already going to be out there purchasing other things, and they'll just wind up buying some of these, so it makes sense, but it just feels like a real gimmick here. It really feels like they're making too many 10-inch pops. I don't know about you, but even just collecting 4-inch pops, it makes it really difficult to find the space for that. But now you have 10-inch versions, and they're making 18-inch versions, and it just feels like it's getting really out of hand here. I feel like Funko feels like they can take advantage of their customer base here because they feel like people will buy the pops because they're exclusive, or they have a variation, or they're limited in the piece count. So I don't know about you, but I have not purchased any 10-inch pops yet, and I do not plan to. The only pops I would ever purchase that are 10-inch versions are when it makes actual sense. When the character is a gigantic character, like they are massive. Like a 10-inch version of Galactus would make sense, but instead they decided to make a 10-inch version of the Thing, and that just really boggles my mind. It just really doesn't make sense to me. So I know this video has went on for a long time here. I'm not even gonna bother making a separate like final thought section here. I'll just tell it to you right now. There were some disappointing things, as I laid out in this video, that Funko has done this year, and I know I'm also just poking fun here at Funko as well. I don't mean to sound serious or like I'm ticked off or anything, or like I'm spoiled in some sort. I'm just pointing out stuff that Funko is doing that I just don't necessarily agree with, and I'm really interested to hear your perspectives on the points as well, because some of you might absolutely love 10-inch pops, and I absolutely want to hear that. That's actually really good if you like 10-inch pops, because then when they're making as many as they are right now, it shouldn't really be annoying you, and that's good. Because for me personally, it's kind of annoying to constantly see new 10-inch versions popping up all the time. But it's great if you like some of these. If you like the Chase version of Chubbs, which I don't know why you do, but hey, it's your own opinion, and I completely accept that, and I respect your opinion as well. So be sure to let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you all went on to enjoy the video. If you want to go check out a more positive video, then be sure to watch my top 10 favorite Funko Pops of 2019 video, because that one was a lot of fun to make. So I hope you all enjoyed this video as well, though. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.